What the hell are you doing in my house if you hate me so much? Why the hell are you married to me? What the hell are you doing carrying my child? I mean, why didn't you just get rid of it when you had the chance? Because listen to me, I got news for you. I wish to God that you had.
Whoa, that's a lot to take in. I think it's safe to say that this is a clear example of what bad communication gets you. So what are some skills for good, effective communication? Join us on the latest Cinephile episode to find out, and be sure to visit our FUNDAY website for more. What's up, movie fans? I'm Wade, your Cinephile host. Revolutionary Road is a 2008 romantic drama film starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet as Frank and April Wheeler. This would be the second on-screen collaboration for DiCaprio and Winslet, who previously co-starred in the classic 1997's Titanic. This film is set in the mid-1950s. The Wheelers struggle to cope with their personal problems and the ensuing breakdown in their marriage. But before all that, let's back up to their first meet at a party.
The gypsy.
So what do you do?
I'm studying to be an actress. You?
I'm a longshoreman.
No, I mean really.
I mean really too. Although starting next Monday, I'm doing something a little more glamorous.
What's that?
Night cashier at a cafeteria.
They soon hit it off and slow dance into the night. Fast forward, they're married, and to their friends, the Wheelers are the perfect couple. But their relationship is troubled. April fails to make a career out of acting, while Frank hates the tedium of his work. Frank attends April's play that turns out to be a disaster. Immediately after, tensions build as Frank attempts to comfort her, first in the changing room, then again on their way home. April would much prefer not to talk about it, but Frank insists on comforting her, to the point that she could take no more, and both begin to tell each other off on how they really feel.
Oh, yeah?
You don't fool me, Frank. Just because you got me safely in this little trap, you think you can bully me into feeling whatever you want me to feel.
In a trap!
Yes,
You
yes.
in a trap!
Me,
Jesus
Frank!
Christ!
Me!
Don't make me laugh!
Pathetic, self-deluded little boy! Look at you and tell me how by any stretch of the imagination you can call yourself a man!
The next day, Frank leaves the house discontent. As he looks into the house, April looks out with the same emotions. Frank has secured a sales position with Knox Machine, the same company his father used to work at. While Frank is at work, April is at home doing chores. She flashes back and remembers the first time they were shown the house, 115 Revolutionary Road in suburb Connecticut, by their close realtor friend Helen, and the excitement of the new journey that was ahead.
Marvelous for children. It's just around this next curve. Now you'll see it. There. See the little white one? Sweet, isn't it? A perky way it sits there on its little slope. Charming, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
While at work, Frank invites the new secretary to have a drink with him at a bar. She accepts, becomes heavily intoxicated. Frank then reveals it's his 30th birthday and how meaningless he feels his life is, and the two cheat on their spouses. Meanwhile, Helen has asked April if they will meet her son John, who has been in an insane asylum. She thinks the young couple may be able to help with his condition. April accepts. April is then reminded of the passion they once had for life, and wants a change of scenery, a chance to support the family so Frank can find his passion. So when Frank returns home, she and the kids surprise him for his birthday, and later she suggests that they move to Paris to start a new life away from the hopeless emptiness of their lifestyle. Frank says it's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic for a man with a fine mind to go on working year after year at a job he can't stand. Coming home to a place he can't stand, to a wife who's equally unable to stand the same things. Do you want to know the worst part? Our whole existence here is based on this great premise that we're special and superior to the whole thing. But we're not. We're just like everyone else. Look at us. We've bought into the same ridiculous delusion. This idea that you have to resign from life and settle down the moment you have children. And we've been punishing each other for it.
With a little more convincing, Frank agrees. Over the next several weeks, the couple seem to be happier than ever, as they tell their various friends about their plan to live in Paris. Most seem skeptical. Surprisingly, the only person who seemed to comprehend their decision is John, Helen's son. As the couple prepares to move, they are forced to reconsider. Frank is offered a promotion and April becomes pregnant again. When Frank discovers she's contemplating having an abortion, the couple have an altercation.
Tell me the truth, Frank. Remember that? We used to live by it. And you know what's so good about the truth? Everyone knows what it is, however long they've lived without it. No one forgets the truth, Frank. They just get better at lying.
Frank and April come to the conclusion that Paris was a childish dream, and Frank promises that they'll be able to build a happy life here. The next day, Frank takes the promotion and tries to accept his uneventful life. At the end of an evening at a jazz bar with the Campbells, Shep and April end up alone together. She confides in him of her depression over the cancelled Paris plans and her life in general, and they end up cheating. Shep professes his long-held love for April, but she rejects his interest. The following day, Frank confesses to having had an affair, hoping to reconcile with April. To his surprise, April responds apathetically and tells him it does not matter, as her love for him has gone, which he refuses to believe.
April, don't you understand that I want you to care?
I know. I know you do. And I suppose I would if I loved you. But I don't think I do anymore, and I only just figured that out. And that's why I just as soon not do any talking right now.
Oh, don't give me that shit, April. Don't give me that. You know goddamn well you love me.
You think so?
You know goddamn well.
Yoo-hoo! Anyone home?
The Givings come over for dinner, and Frank announces to the guests that their plans have changed because April is pregnant. But right away, John questions Frank and accuses him for crushing April's hopes, as well as being weak for accepting his current circumstance. Frank bursts out in anger and nearly attacks John, but Helen defends him and says he's unwell. Before leaving, John insults the couple by saying he's glad that he isn't going to be that unborn child. Afterwards, Frank and April have their own fight that spirals out of control.
What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna hit me to show me how much you love me?
Don't worry, I can't be bothered. You're not worth the trouble it would take to hit you. You're not worth the powder it would take to blow you up. You are an empty, hollow shell of a woman.
April flees the house and Frank chases after her, but all she wants is to be left alone. So Frank spends the night drinking to help with the stress. The next morning, he is shocked to find April in the kitchen, calmly making breakfast. Frank, unsure how to react, eats with her and they share pleasantries. Frank thanks her for a wonderful breakfast and prepares to leave for work.
And you don't hate me or anything?
No. No, of course I don't. Have a good day.
Okay then. So long.
April sees him off, cries while doing the dishes, calls Millie, who's babysitting, to tell the children she loves them, then goes to the bathroom and performs a vacuum aspiration abortion on herself. Afterwards, she discovers she's bleeding and calls an ambulance. Frank arrives at the hospital distraught, and Shep later comes in to comfort him. But soon, April dies in the hospital from blood loss, and Frank loses it and runs home. A guilty Frank moves to the city and starts selling computers. He spends his spare time with his children. A new couple buys their old home, and Millie tells the story of the Wheelers to them. Shep stands up and walks out of the house crying. He tells Millie he doesn't want to talk about the Wheelers ever again. Helen talks to her husband about how the new couple seem to be the best suited couple for the Wheelers' old house. When her husband mentions the Wheelers, Helen starts to explain why she did not like them. As she continues to elaborate, her husband slowly turns off his hearing aids.
A tragic ending that invokes real, raw emotions. Rex Reed of the New York Observer put it eloquently. He says, "It's a flawless moment-to-moment autopsy of a marriage on the rocks and an indictment of the American dream gone sour." Isn't that so true? Most of the time, not just in marriage, we try to put up a front that everything is great, when in reality, we all go through hard times. One takeaway from this should be the importance of communication and making sure the other person you're communicating with feels heard. 接下来我们来揭晓今天电影迷真爱旅程 Revolutionary Road 要学什么。We've witnessed the effects of poor communication skills and the result it brings. So let's take a look at 4 skills that are necessary for good, effective communication. 1. Active listening. 积极聆听. Clear communication starts with active listening. If you're just focused on how you're expressing yourself, chances are you're not listening or reacting to what the other person is bringing to the table. An effective communicator pays close attention to what's being said and makes others feel heard and considered. 2. Empathy, 同理心. Being able to understand the feelings of those around you is an integral part of being an effective communicator. Having high emotional intelligence and demonstrating an ability to empathize builds rapport between you and others. 3. Nonverbal communication skills, 非语言沟通技巧. In addition to verbal messaging, effective communication relies on nonverbal cues. Developing an awareness of your body language and the tone of your voice will improve your messaging. 4. Teamwork, 团队合作. The ability to actively engage in team building and consistently collaborate with coworkers is an important part of building your business communication skills. The more you build stronger relationships and rapport with others in the workplace, the more effective you will be in able to communicate with them. We'll hope you've learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile. You can find more on the FUNDAY website. Let's make every day a fun day.
Would you like scrambled eggs or fried?
I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Scrambled, I guess, if it's easy.
Fine. I'll have scrambled too.